Welcome to Terror, She Wrote, Ep.1.
Dun dun dun.
I'm Nicole,
I'm Brittany.
and this is our podcast. Yep. Anyways.
Anyway, we are going to tell you guys a scary story.
Ooh. You sent me that mukbang, and let me tell you, it was so great.
Dude, I
It was
watch
so
it
crunchy.
all the time, and I can always feel myself salivating. It is so good.
Honestly, I think the spaghetti ones are probably my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. It's the slurping for me.
And they're
It's great.
this had nothing to do with spooky shit.
No, it doesn't. I mean, unless there's like a haunted mukbang, then great. That's
Hey,
cool.
maybe we could do that on the side.
That'd be great. Watch our mukbangs become more famous than our podcast.
You know
all right,
what?
I guess we're done with that.
I'll take what I can get.
This will be fine.
Hey, if I'm just eating and getting money for that, sick.
Yeah. Dude, I'm here for it.
And
I don't have to show my feet or nothing.
well, that could be double.
Oh, okay. Put it on our OnlyFans. Watch me eat with my toes out.
Ew, no! I thought you were gonna say, watch me eat with my toes.
Ew, that's even worse. Can you imagine just like lint in my toenail?
Oh no!
I've got like spaghetti coming out.
This is getting so gross. Ew.
This is really bad. This is not good podcasting.
You can draw like a little face on your big toe. Oh no!
It's like it's the emoji that has its tongue out on the side. It's like,
Ew. Ow! All right.
I hate it.
Let's get into the story.
All right. So, in our podcast, we'll be telling you guys scary, scary stories. Most of them are going to be some stories from our friends and family. This first story that we're going to tell you, it's pretty famous, I guess, from our No Sleep on Reddit. Kind of wanted to jump into this one because it's pretty scary.
I'm ready. Give me them goosebumps.
This is called My Wife Has Been Peeking at Me. My wife Lynn and I have been together for 6 years and married for 11. Our entire history together has been very normal, and never once have I noticed any weird behaviors or red flags. I can't stress enough how out of character this whole thing is for her. Lynn is very kind, intelligent, and thoughtful. She's always been the no-nonsense type of person. Being childish or trying to scare me is not something she'd normally do. She doesn't even like watching horror movies. When we first started dating, she agreed to watch The Shining with me because she knew how much I loved horror. She was so scared that she didn't even make it through half of the movie before we had to turn it off. She isn't into anything creepy and has never been into pranks. It's just not her cup of tea.
Boo.
Honestly, I'm really bad at pranking, so I just don't do it. Like,
Yeah.
I either go like too low or too high with them. Like, it's just way too extreme sometimes. And I'm like, that was a bad prank.
Like, that wasn't funny, was it? You didn't enjoy it?
Yeah, it's...
Mine is just like, oh, boo! Gotcha. That's it. That's all I have.
Like, I slash your tires, like, ha, I got you.
Guys, it's just a prank. Ah.
Yeah, don't be so sensitive.
God.
Just gaslight the shit out of them. But that's what was so strange about this. It was just so unlike her. I should also add that she never had any mental health issues, and as far as I'm aware, it doesn't run in her family. I know some people are able to hide their mental health problems, but in 6 years we've been together, I think I'd have seen some sort of sign. I mean, yeah.
Duh.
Aaron found out about my mental issues well before we got married.
Oh, same. And they still
Like,
chose us.
Yeah. Thanks, husbands. We appreciate
hey,
you.
I murdered somebody like last year, but I'm a new me. Oh, that's fine.
Right.
You're still hot. Yes.
It's all right, babe. I still love you for who you are.
Thank you. Well, have another
throws up on his face.
He throws up on. You still love me?
I can't help it. Yeah. You better wash that off. You'll get pink eye. All right, here we go. Into the story. Now that we've talked about vomiting, 2 months ago, I was in the kitchen making myself some coffee before work. I was running a bit late that morning and knew I wouldn't be able to make it to Dunkin' Donuts for my usual morning fix. I took a sip of my coffee as I hurried down the hall towards the front door when I happened to notice Lynn peeking at me from around the corner ahead of me. I could only see her eyes and a strand of her long dark hair hanging against the wall. The rest of her body was concealed behind the corner. I nearly spilled my coffee when I saw her. I did burn the shit out of my lips. Geez, Lynn, I said, wiping a few drops of coffee off my pants. You scared the shit out of me. She immediately popped out of view like a little kid that had been caught. I heard her scurry off towards the living room, and by the time I got to the front door, she was out of sight. It was really weird and just totally out of character for her, like I said. But I also found it kind of funny that she was being more playful and a little less serious. I shouted that I loved her and called her a weirdo. As I shut the door behind me, I heard her laughing. Her behavior was a bit odd, but it certainly wasn't something to call a priest over. I forgot about it by lunch, and by the time I got home, she was her normal self. I didn't bring it up, and neither did she, and life went on. The next incident happened 3 days later. It was around 2 a.m., and I had woken up to get a drink. I was standing at the kitchen island with a jug of OJ in my hand when I felt a strong feeling that I was being watched. For some reason, I looked down at the floor and saw my wife's smiling face staring back. She was peeking at me from the other side of the island, staring up at me with wide, unblinking eyes and grinning like the Cheshire cat. I screamed, I'll admit it, not out of irritation, but fear. For some reason, at that moment, I was scared. I mean,
For some reason? What do you mean for
it's 2
some
a.
reason?
Right, it's 2 a.m. You're just trying to get some OJ. Why wouldn't you be scared?
Especially with her.
For some reason.
That literally gave
I'm such
me.
a man. I was like, whoa, what happened there, dude? Can you imagine if he's just like a bro?
So-
Just like, yeah, this whole story, I should just be like, at the sound of my scream.
you sound
That's
like
awful.
Nuke's top 5. Sound of my scream. I got OJ.
All right. At the sound of my scream, Lynn scuttled backwards out of my view, her hands and feet smacking the tile floor as she hurried out of the kitchen on all fours.
Oh, that's weird.
It took me a little longer than I'd like to admit to go back upstairs, but I eventually did. When I got to her bedroom, Lynn was lying on her side asleep, or at least pretending to be. I stood there for a while, watching her breathing to be sure she really was asleep. I had the feeling she might jump out at me the moment I got into bed, but she didn't. I climbed into bed and she didn't even move. Her breathing was soft and deep, and I was starting to wonder if I'd dreamt the whole thing. The next morning, I waited for her to come down for coffee, and after handing her a mug and kissing her cheek, I decided to ask her about it. What was that about last night? I asked, keeping my tone light so I didn't offend or embarrass her. She frowned over her cup of coffee, shaking her head like she had no clue what I was referring to. You were peeking at me again, from over there, I said, pointing to the spot on the floor by the kitchen island. She followed my gaze, and when she looked back at me, she burst out laughing. She laughed so hard that I couldn't help but join her. You creep me the fuck out sometimes, you know that? I said. She giggled and set her cup on the counter and wrapped her arms around my neck. You creep me out all the time, so I guess we're even, she teased. We said our goodbyes and left for work. As I drove, I kept thinking about how creepy it had been seeing her grinning at me from behind the island like that. The sounds her hands made on the floor as she crawled away. I told myself she was just trying to be silly, just trying to join me in my love of all things horror. It's not like I was afraid of her, but it still didn't sit right with me. I started seeing her peeking at me more and more. Sometimes she'd be peeking out from behind the couch or living room curtains. Once she even managed to get inside her grandmother's old trunk that sat at the foot of our bed. First of all, throw that away. I might not have even known she was there at all had the trunk's old hinges not given her away. She'd had the lid propped up just enough so only half of her face peeked through. She'd been grinning like an excited toddler. It was unnerving. I didn't even know what to say to her. All I could do was stare. When I finally found my voice, I asked her why on earth she was doing this. She didn't answer, but she had slowly closed the lid, shutting herself inside the trunk. I just walked away, feeling disturbed. Honestly, I would do the same thing. I'm not gonna lie. I'd I'd put the lock on it.
Yeah,
Like, you just fucking stay there, bitch.
chain that shit up.
I'm sick of you.
Come back when you're done.
Right.
When you're done goofing off, babe.
You fucking like pranks? Well, me too. Starve, bitch.
I'm just joking, babe.
God, don't take it so seriously.
Always so serious. Just because you nearly died, it's not my
Right,
fault that you
right.
couldn't take a joke.
So sorry you soiled yourself. Maybe next time don't do that.
Do better next time.
Right. You should have peed before you went into the trunk. Sorry you had diarrhea. You shouldn't have had
You're
those
so
tacos.
gross, Lynn. You're so disgusting, Lynn.
I told you not to eat that Taco Bell. Oh, God. Ew.
This is so gross.
Why are we disgusting? I'm sorry, everybody. Hopefully this isn't a deterrent for you. Anyways, I didn't understand why she was doing it, but it clearly made her happy. I just hoped she would get tired of the game quickly. Lynn didn't peek at me for the next 2 weeks. I started to think she was done with her weird prank, and I was relieved. We were watching a show on Netflix one night, and I jokingly said that I hadn't seen her peeking at me lately, and that she must have given up on her spy game. She looked up at me with a small smile and said, "Maybe I've just gotten better at it."
Just the idea that she's been watching him this entire time, he just never noticed.
Right,
I would hate that because, like, what if I did something embarrassing and they caught it?
right. I'm just like scratching my butthole or something, you know what I mean?
I knew you were gonna say shit like this.
I probably should have just went like picking a booger. Consi-
There was so many options you had.
I had to go to the most extreme.
You didn't just say butt. You said butthole.
Got my whole finger up there. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, listeners. I don't know what's wrong with me. So many things. So many things.
Oh my god.
Oh,
my god.
man. I didn't say anything, but I wondered whether or not she was joking. For the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about what she said. Was she still peeking at me when I wasn't looking and I just hadn't noticed? And if so, what the hell was she getting out of this? I started to feel paranoid, constantly checking whether she was watching from around the corner or behind a door. I was jumping whenever I was home and she wasn't in full view of me. I felt stupid and a little crazy. But after a few weeks without another incident, I began to relax. I stopped checking behind the furniture and walls and told myself it was just a bad memory. Then a few days ago, things got so much worse. Lynn left to go to a friend's and I lounged on the couch and played a couple games on my laptop. Around 9 p.m., I hopped in the shower and I was washing the soap from my hair. I felt that awful feeling that I was being watched. I slowly opened my eyes and almost had a fucking heart attack. Lynn was peeking from behind the shower curtain, her entire head stretched into the shower, leaving just her body outside. Her long dark hair hung against the curtain, the ends dripping with water. Her mouth hung open in a terrible grin, eyes wide and red, as if she hadn't blinked in a while. I screamed and jumped back against the wall. She didn't move, nor did her smile waver. Her makeup ran down her cheeks in two black streaks. She looked giddy and completely deranged. I was fucking terrified.
I mean, same.
Yeah, I mean, that would be
Shit.
awful. I was just thinking, like, if I was in the shower and I jumped back because something scared me, I would absolutely slip and fall and probably break my head, you know?
Oh, yes.
So the dexterity that this guy has to not do that is pretty great.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive. Fucking Spider-Man
That's like
over here.
that. It's so horrifying because, like, for one, you're naked and just vulnerable.
Right? If there is
And like, you know, it's already scary closing your eyes in the shower if you're home alone.
right.
I've always been like, as a kid, you're just like, this is good. You open your eyes and then burn your eyes with a shampoo.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I was playing with a shampoo bottle and I don't know why I did it, but I shook it up and then I squeezed it in my face and I was crying my ass off. I was like, it was awful.
Why?
I don't know. It was just the only thing I could do. I was bored in the shower.
That's the only thing you can do.
I was bored. It's not like I had any rubber duckies, you know?
I mean, you were a kid.
I had a shampoo
I
bottle.
get it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it
get
was
it.
like the baby shampoo too, so it wouldn't like hurt when it got in your eyes, but I was just panicking. So I was
Because it just got in your eyes.
crying in the shower, like, I can't see, I've ruined my eyesight.
Oh, Now you have glasses,
Nah, yeah, dude,
and
that's what
that's what
happened.
happens
Oh,
when you goof off in the shower.
yeah, you lose your eyesight. It has nothing to
You
do
lose
with
your eyesight.
genetics.
No, absolutely not.
uh,
But no, that is absolutely horrifying to see that, because like I can imagine her face.
Me too.
I also wonder, like, did she fake the fact that she was going to hang out with a friend just to prank her husband?
It's either that or she came home and he was just
Found a great opportunity.
right. Yeah. I feel like she did leave and then just came back when he was unsuspecting or whatever. But maybe, yeah, I think she left. I totally believe that she left and came back.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
And was like, this is a perfect moment.
Yeah.
He's naked and vulnerable, and I'm just going to stare at his ass in the shower.
You're right. Look at that butt.
Ooh, that's a nice butt. Oh, he turned around. That's a nice junk. Oh no! Too much! Too much! Too much! Too much! No, cut that part out.
Jesus Christ. We'll just talk about his butt. Can you imagine if he was like
Yeah, it's just a
washing his
butt.
butt at that time?
Why? Don't go there anymore.
I'm
Just
sorry.
don't go there.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay, you can cut this out, but I was gonna add, like, he's just bent down. He dropped the soap.
He's got his cheeks spread open.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
This is
Editor.
that's fucking
He's probably
hilarious.
gonna be editing this and be like, what the fuck are they talking about?
These girls are fucking weird. He's gonna quit.
Please don't.
Yeah, please don't.
We're not always this gross.
Dude, from all of the fitful laughter, I lost where I was.
So, he turned around and said, and then like her makeup.
Oh, okay, here we go.
The streaks.
I was fucking terrified. All right. We stood like that for a few moments, neither of us saying a word. Finally, after what felt like forever, she slowly pulled her head back out of the shower, and I watched her blurry figure through the curtain as she moved backwards towards the bathroom door. A second later, the bathroom door slammed shut, hard enough to rattle the mirror. I screamed again and jumped out of the shower to lock the door. I stayed inside the bathroom for over an hour. Maybe I overreacted to some of you, but joke or not, I wasn't going to put up with the crazy shit anymore. That's what I kept telling myself as I paced in the bathroom, stopping to listen at the door every few minutes. Suddenly, I heard a muffled sound, and I pressed my ear against the bathroom door, straining to listen. I couldn't hear anything, but I envisioned Lynn standing on the other side of the door, giggling at our joke. I felt a surge of anger. I was beyond pissed at being made to feel scared in my own house and made to hide in the bathroom for an hour. All for what? Some joke? If it was a joke, it was an awful one. I mean, honestly, same though. Like, I'm really bad at
No, like,
them.
there's a limit. There's a limit to jokes.
Is there? 'Cause I don't seem to know it. Anyways, what the fuck, Lynn? I snapped. This shit is getting really fucking annoying. I waited for her to apologize or call me a jerk, but instead I heard a faint moan. So quiet I wondered if I heard it at all. And then complete silence. Lynn? I called out, not able to hide the shakiness in my voice. I got no response, just my own heavy breathing. I swear to God, just fucking stop it. I yelled, pounding my fist on the door. I waited for her to cuss me out, something I would expect from me talking to her like that. I never screamed at her before. But there was nothing, just the occasional drip from the shower head. I wouldn't deny that I was scared, too afraid to open the damn door and face my own wife. I waited another 30 minutes or so, which felt like a fucking lifetime when you're scared. Finally, I decided I wasn't going to spend the night hiding in my bathroom, so I got down on my knees and peered through the door. I almost expected to see her face peeking back at me, but thankfully I didn't. I could see straight down the hallway to the top of the stairs, but no Lynn. I didn't know if I should be happy about that or not. I looked for a few minutes, waiting to see her head pop up over the top step, but it never came. I stood up, my hand hovering over the door and mentally preparing myself to open it. I slowly turned the lock with shaky fingers and was about to yank it open when I heard a sound that still makes me feel nauseous when I think about it. a moan, louder than before. But this time I was able to tell just where it was coming from. I turned my head to the closet door as if in slow motion and locked eyes with my wife, who was peeking at me from the slight gap. Her eyes still wide as ever, and her mouth was hanging open in the most grotesque, gaping smile I'd ever seen. I didn't even scream. I was too scared for even that. Her hands were clasped to her chest, body trembling with sheer delight, as if she could barely contain her excitement. A short, raspy moan bubbled up from her throat, deep and raw, sending a shiver through my entire body. Somehow, I found the ability to pull the bathroom door open and run as fast as I could all the way down the steps, snagging my keys and phone from the table in the living room before running outside to my car. I could hear her shrill laughter behind me, but I didn't hear her get any closer. I didn't bother shutting the front door. I drove away from the house faster than I legally should have, shivering the entire time, either from fear or the cold, maybe a little bit of both. I hadn't grabbed a coat or even a pair of shoes. I was still in my boxers and my hair was still damp. At least he had the decency to put some boxers on.
Oh
I
yeah.
bet you the old ones though that he took off right before the shower and just like put them on
Ugh.
inside out. I was like, this is fine.
Oh, huh. Ugh. Ugh.
Ew.
God. God.
Boys are gross. I drove straight to my brother Chris's house about 40 minutes away, ignoring any and every call and text I got. I didn't check my phone until I was safely parked in my brother's driveway. Lynn had called 4 times and sent a flurry of texts, all wondering where I'd gone and why I left like that. Bitch, come on.
Mm-hmm.
You know. She's gaslighting him now. It's her turn. I threw my phone at the dash in a rage, furious at her nonchalant attitude. My brother and his wife were surprised to see me, especially dressed in just a pair of boxers, but told me to stay as long as I needed. Chris lent me some clothes and asked me what happened. I told him Lynn and I had a fight, but didn't get into the details. I didn't want him to think I was overreacting, leaving my wife over a prank, even if it was a strange one. I mean, I mean, hadn't I encouraged her for years to lighten up instead of being so serious all the time? I had wanted her to relax and loosen up, but this was definitely not what I had in mind. I tried to sleep on their sofa, but my brain wouldn't let me sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lynn's face staring at me from inside the closet. Knowing she'd been there with me the entire time made my skin crawl. She'd never left the fucking bathroom at all. Instead, she slipped inside
Ugh.
the closet and slammed the bathroom door shut to fool me. The mere thought of going back home gave me anxiety. I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Chris ended up giving me a sleeping pill, so I was able to get a little rest. My sleep was filled with terrible dreams, all of Lynn's smiling face. I woke up just as the sun was starting to rise, my sore body aching from the sofa, and I felt drained. I knew I'd have to call Lynn at some point, but I didn't know what to say to her. I wouldn't be going home unless she gave me her word she'd never do any more creepy shit. I just wanted my wife back. Her normal, serious self never looked so good to me. I was contemplating calling her and telling her that when that familiar feeling came over me. I was being watched. I was staring at the ceiling, my heart in my throat. I didn't want to look away, but the longer I ignored the feeling, the worse it got. My eyes drifted away from the ceiling, almost on their own. Her face was pressed up against the window beside the couch, staring down at me with the same gaping smile. Drool dribbled down her lips, leaving 2 long streaks down the glass. Wait, is she? Oh, she was at the window.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought she was behind the couch. I was like, what?
Oh,
Where did the glass come
that'd be
from? That would
worse.
be so much worse.
She's just holding a glass.
For dramatic effect. Just a piece of
The
fucking
drool.
glass. I don't want to drool on the couch.
Like, babe, you got a little drool. Just there. Here? Right here. It's so gross.
I could just like picture like a dog with his like nose stuffed up, right? And like
And that's her face.
I would not be able to take that seriously. Like, regardless
No.
if it scares me or not, like, I'd be like, what the fuck is happening, you crazy bitch?
I'm like, hold it. I'm gonna take a photo of that, and there
Right?
it is.
Put,
Lynn, you look stupid.
put it on
You
Facebook.
look stupid, Lynn. Yeah.
Look at my wife being dumb as shit. I'm gonna beat her later.
My God. Oh no. Okay.
Anyways, drool dribbled down her lips, leaving 2 long streaks down the glass. I didn't know how long she'd been there, but something told me she'd been there quite a while, possibly all night. I didn't bother screaming, though I was afraid anger trumped any fear I felt at the moment. I jumped up from the couch and pounded my palm against the glass. Lynn, are you crazy? What the hell is wrong with you? Just go home. Now. I probably said it more aggressively than that, but
Oh.
she didn't move and her ghastly expression never changed. If anything, her smile only grew, as if she had never been more elated. I could hear Chris and his wife moving around upstairs. As if Lynn could hear them from her place outside, her head twitched slightly in their direction, and she began to close her mouth slowly. Chris called my name from upstairs, obviously concerned. I turned to see him and his wife, Rebecca, hurrying down the steps. When I turned back to the window, Lynn was gone. The only sign she'd been there at all was the 2 streaks of drool still dripping down the glass. I tried explaining to Chris and Rebecca about waking up to see Lynn watching me through their window. They were skeptical. Who wouldn't be? Chris and I went outside to the spot in front of the window, but there were no footprints in the dirt, just a slight indent. Animal, probably, Chris guessed, and I didn't argue. He and Becky assumed I dreamt the entire episode, but they didn't understand, and I was too tired to explain it to them. I called out of work that day and turned my cell off. I didn't want to face Lynn. Just talking to her was too much for me at this point. I really started to believe something was irreversibly wrong with her, that no matter what promises she made, we'd never be the same again. The thought saddened me to my core. I cried most of the morning. By noon, I figured I was ready to confront her, give her one last chance to explain herself. I could at least give her that after 6 years. I turned my phone on and saw dozens of texts she'd sent, all from a seemingly concerned wife. Can we talk? I love you. Please call me. I'm really worried. Can you answer? Just come home. And more of the same. All texts telling me she loved me and she wanted me home, how worried she was. Not a damn one addressing the crazy shit she pulled, like she hadn't been acting like a character from a Stephen King book.
Ooh, love his books.
Part 2, coming next
Ooh,
episode. Shit is
ooh,
about to get real.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's
She's like, babe, it was just a prank. God, I was just joking. You can't take a joke.
yeah. We're gonna do a part 2, because it's a pretty long story, and we want to make sure you guys have time to hear all of our creepy shit and all of our fun things.
Oh yes.
Yay!
But so far, that story, I hate
I
it.
do too.
It is so I hate being stared at. For if like that feeling of being watched,
Yeah, it's
it's awful, especially when you're home alone.
dude, right? Like just
Mm-mm.
the utter terror of it. Like I'm so scared of the unknown and feeling
Yes.
like I'm being watched and not knowing how and where or who is just like awful to me. Like even if I'm in public
Yeah.
and I can feel somebody staring at me and I know there's people around me, I'm like, "Oh my God, what the fuck is happening?"
Either like staring or following without you
Dude,
knowing.
yeah. Ugh. Ugh.
Mm-mm.
I hate it. It's the smiling for
Nah,
me,
like,
not gonna lie.
oh my God. No,
Especially
I'm not gonna get too deep into the story, but like, I think I told you what it was like last month. I was being followed in Sorrento at night.
yeah. How fucking
Yeah, and
creepy.
he was all smiley and in the dark and
Mm.
just wouldn't leave us alone. I'm like, bro, take a
Get
hint.
out of here.
Leave.
Go on, get.
Get on, get.
I oughta.
We brought it here. We brought it here.
God damn it.
But like a ghost
Yeah, dude.
staring
Well, I mean, I
is
guess
a
it's not
whole
really a
different
ghost.
feeling.
It's a possessed wife. which is pretty shitty.
True. Yes. Yeah.
Every once in a while, Aaron
I'm not.
gets this like really scary face. Um, and it's just him like being
Yeah.
creepy,
Yeah. I've seen it.
and his eyes are all wide. And because he has blue eyes, like it just makes it even creepier.
Makes it worse.
I'm like, fucking shit, dude. Please stop. Please have a normal conversation with me. He just takes it like right until it gets a little too creepy. And he's like, oh, yeah. So, anyways.
He's back to like, oh, my love.
Yeah.
You're like, what was that?
Yeah.
What the fuck was
Won't
that?
address it or anything. Just like, yeah. Did you want some toast? Okay.
Yes.
I do.
Minus a smile.
I'm actually quite hungry. Thank you.
But what the fuck?
Yeah. Just terrified. Stick a finger up his nose.
Shall we move on to the next topic of actual ghost story?
Yeah, I would love to hear a story. Do you have one for me?
This one's. I do.
Ooh.
This one's very short. Nothing too elaborate. I was in elementary when this happened. I was home alone with my well, not home alone. It was me and my grandma at the house. Kevin. And her and I were in front of the staircase downstairs, and she asked me a question. But before I could answer, we heard a little kid answering from upstairs.
Ugh.
Like it felt like they were standing at the top of the staircase, looking down at us.
Jesus fuck.
We slowly looked up and saw nobody, and I'm like, let's go hang out in your room. She's like, yep, let's go. The end.
Do you remember at the end?
It
Do you know what the voice was saying?
was definitely like a mumble.
Yeah.
But like the tone and the sound, it was just very clear
Jesus.
that someone was talking upstairs.
Oh my god.
Like it felt like it was like my little brother talking to us from upstairs.
But it was just you and your grandma. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck that. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That.
the kids for me
I've,
that scare me.
yeah. I've only experienced like twice, and that was like the first one that was super like clear in my ears.
Yeah. There was this one time I went to an amusement park and they were having their Halloween haunt thing. So they'd have actors coming through, right? To scare everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to my friend and we were going through the kid part of the amusement park, right? And I was like, honestly, it was the creepiest fucking music. It was the same music as it usually is, but because it was Fright Night, it was just even scarier. And I'm telling my friend, like, dude, honestly, the thing that scares me the most are like children being creepy as fuck. Like, I can't do it.
Yes.
And then my friend's like, oh, well, you probably shouldn't look to your right then. And I looked over and it's this fucking actor who's small and child looking. And she's like, hee hee. And I'm, oh, what the?
you just decked her.
Yeah, I should have fucking just wailed on her.
You don't fucking do that to adults.
Just roadhouse kicker.
Yeah. That's terrible. But they're creepy.
They're so creepy.
What's the next?
We can jump into some Goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Yeah. So I looked online what Goosebumps were like the best Goosebump books, and I came across this one, Trapped in Batwing Hall. Give yourself goosebumps.
I'm ready for it.
Here we go. This town stinks. It's Friday afternoon, the end of your first week at your new school. Your family just moved to this town last month, and so far no one at school has even tried to be your friend. Day after day, you sit in class waiting for someone to talk to you, waiting and staring at the strange faces around you. How can you possibly go through the year without any friends, you wonder? You're cool. You know you are. You had tons of friends at your old school. You trudge home slowly. All you have to look forward to is a boring weekend watching TV with your parents and your bratty little brother. Then something hits the back of your jacket. You whirl around. A pebble drops to the ground. You glance up and notice a brown haired boy about your age. Hi, he calls. I'm Nick. Hi, you reply, introducing yourself. We're in the same class at school, Nick says. That's funny, you think. You don't remember seeing him there. But you smile anyway. You're so happy someone is finally talking to you. I live there, Nick tells you. He points to a 2-story green house on the next block. You gaze back at him, shocked. But you can't live there, you exclaim. There's no way. What do you mean I can't live there? Nick asks, laughing. I know my own house. I live next door, you tell him. You point to the red brick house next to the green one. The greenhouse has been empty all month. There haven't been any lights on, no cars in the driveway. I was on vacation with my family. We got back last night, Nick says. What do you think of school? Okay, I guess, you reply. You're afraid to say anything more, you never know. Maybe this kid, Nick, actually likes school. Can you believe how much homework our teacher gave us this weekend? Nick complains. He kicks a stone down the street as you walk. All the kids who had Mr. Cormack last year says he's really tough and mean. A total monster. You agree. The next thing you know, you and Nick are comparing favorite rock groups and comic books. Both of you collect Spider-Man comics. Nick has all the first issues from the last 5 years, too. Comics are cool, Nick says, but do you know what's even cooler? What, you ask? Horror stories, Nick exclaims. In fact, he stops talking and stares at you. What, you ask? What about horror stories? It's probably way too scary for you, Nick replies. Nothing's too scary for me, you boast.
I thought she was gonna say, "Nothing's too scary for me, you bitch." That's what.
Damn. Didn't know Goosebumps had cuss words. Nothing's too scary for me, you boast. That's because you've never been to the horror club, Nick says. What's that? Nick grins. It's a club I belong to. You've got to be really brave to be a member. When we meet, we tell spooky stories. Really scary. Cool, you reply. I love scary stories. Can I join? If you think you can handle it, Nick says. We meet every Friday night at the Batwing Hall. That's the deserted house at the end of our street. It was old Professor Krupnik's house. I've seen the house. It looks haunted. You tell Nick with a laugh. Don't laugh, he warns you. It is haunted. Hurry to page 100. Haunted?
Ooh.
For real? You ask. For real, Nick replies seriously. That's why we picked it. Some of the scariest stories I've ever heard happened in Batwing Hall. Like what? Like the story of the kids on Halloween night, Nick says. They were all dressed up, trick or treating. They rang Krupnik's doorbell. A figure dressed in all black answered, and the kids were invited inside. Only they never came back out. What happened? You ask breathlessly. Nobody knows. But late at night, you can still hear the kids' screams. Horrible screams. And when the moon is full, some people say they've seen little creatures in monster costumes roaming about inside the house, trapped forever. Wow. Great story, you say. It's not a story, Nick tells you. Being a member of the horror club can be dangerous. Very dangerous. He pauses, then adds, Today is Friday. We meet tonight. Do you want to come? What do you think? Risk it and go to the horror club tonight? Or say thanks anyway and go to page 91?
Thanks anyway, Nick.
Yeah,
I'm
fuck
a
you, Nick.
bounce. Yeah.
I know I said I wanted to join, but I don't anymore.
Yeah, fuck you, Nick.
Fuck you, Nick. Great choice. Now you're stuck at home with nothing to do. Sure, you can clean out your closet or play stupid board games with your little brother, but that doesn't change things. You still have no friends. You're still bored. But wait, you have one last chance. You hurry to the big yellow phone book. You look up Nick's phone number. You grab the phone and dial. It rings and rings, and then you hear Nick's voice. Hello? Finish your conversation on page 17.
So dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
So dumb. All right, we're going to do one more, and then after this choice, we'll cut it.
Yeah.
Okay. The horror club sounds great, you tell Nick. Count me in. I'll meet you in front of your house at 9 o'clock tonight, Nick says. You agree and say goodbye. Then you rush into your kitchen to find your parents. You tell them you've made a friend and you've been invited to a club meeting. They're so happy for you. Of course, you don't tell them that the meeting is in a deserted, boarded up old house. At 9 o'clock, you join Nick under the elm tree in your front yard. A skinny, fidgety girl with messy, long, dark hair waits with Nick. This is Debbie, he tells you. She's a member of the club, too. Hi, Debbie says. You can barely see her face under all her thick hair, and she always seems to be squirming about. You wonder what's with this strange girl. You
She's a werewolf.
Jesus. That's why she has so much hair.
Exactly.
Poor thing. She's got to
Damn, that's some hairy
wax
bitch.
her eyebrows every day.
Fuck.
She's got hair on her chin.
She's it's a full on beard.
Yeah. You follow your new friends up the hill to the end of the long, dark street. The farther you go, the fewer houses there are. At the end of the road, all the streetlights are out. The sky is pitch black. If it weren't for Nick's flashlight, you'd probably trip over your own feet. There it is, Nick says, pointing. Batwing Hall. Turn to page 96. A huge dark shadow looms at the end of the street. It's the mansion. You stop walking and gaze up at it. Nick shines his flashlight at the old house on the hill. Batwing Hall is a two-story old-fashioned house. All the windows that aren't boarded up are broken. Loose shingles flap from the roof. Paint peels from the weathered sides of the house. It looks as if no one has lived there for hundreds of years. You climb up to the sagging porch with Nick and Debbie. Tall, overgrown trees and bushes cast eerie shadows across the deserted lawn. Isn't this place cool? Debbie whispers to you. Really cool, you agree. This house has been empty for 2 years, Nick tells you, ever since crazy old Professor Crumpnick died. No one will buy it because it's haunted, Debbie explains. You notice she's chewing nervously at the end of her long hair. Yuck. That is pretty gross. But, like, I can remember as a
God,
kid,
Debbie.
I was kind of doing the same thing, which is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
But
No, I remember as a kid, I also had a beard.
you learned to shave real quick. Uh,
Smooth like a baby's bottom.
just using Nair all day.
Oh God, not Nair.
Every night. That's your ritual.
Like, oh, good night, babe. Let me just put.
Ew.
Only he knows the truth.
uh, okay. No one will buy the house because it's haunted, Debbie explains. You notice she's chirving. You notice she's chewing nervously at the end of her long hair. Yuck. The front door was boarded up until we figured out how to pry it open, Debbie says. She points to the large wooden door. Let's go. You take a step forward. Stop, Nick says. Get down, now. If you do as Nick says, hurry to page 19. If you ignore him and head for the door, go to page 85. What will you do?
I ignored him the last time, and where did he get me? Someone listen to him this time.
Okay.
I'm just gonna listen to him.
Hurry to page 19. That was a pretty good
Goosebumps.
first epi.
Yeah, I had fun.
Do you like Kiki's bumps?
It gave me the goosies.
Oops, sorry. How good.
Just beating on the mic over there.
Yeah. Drumline.
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed. Next week, it will be part 2 of both stories and maybe a little addition. Perhaps another real ghost story.
Ooh. That would be really, we should totally do that. For some reason, I don't know how to end a podcast anymore. I didn't know how to start one, I guess.
We don't know an intro or an outro.
Right.
Well, like, all right, beat, drop now.
Boom, done.
Let's just end it like that.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Join us for episode 2 of Terror, She Wrote.
Bye. Oh, come on. Go.
If you enjoyed, please follow, hit that follow button on whatever you use to listen to your podcasts. And we'll see you again. Goodbye.
Bye.